All right, welcome everyone. This is the first session, well, second session, maybe first session for you. Couple people might have came back. Smaller group than it was on Thursday, so we'll probably cover more because we're going to start with some intros, and the intros I think took about an hour on Thursday, but there's less of you today. So yeah, this is the second session in the spring 2022 cohort of the Fret Live Fretboard Mastery Program. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. Thanks for signing up for this little guitar journey that we're all going to take together. So every session I kind of have an outline of what we're going to do. This session is different than all the others because I want to get to know everyone a little bit. Just as a before we get going on the rest of the adventure, I want to know who's here with me, and I want you all to know who's here with you, and where we're all at, and what we're trying to do here. So we do have the first things I want to go over is just these little intros, and then some tips for success in the course, and then the second half we'll go into some of the key points of Unit 1. And then we'll do a couple activities. One is how to practice the chromatic scale, and then an ear training activity. So there's not much ear training. Ear training's always happening the more that you play, but I like to incorporate ear training as much as I can into these sessions. So, trying to figure out things I'm doing by ear. So we're going to do that with intervals. And I also like to use these sessions for you to play, to volunteer, to share with your classmates, and do little teamwork activities. For the first time last cohort, I started doing like breakout sessions because of Mike, who's here. He's taking the course for the second time. He's also a teacher, and his Zoom skills are more advanced, so he told me about the breakout skills and the breakout rooms, which has been really great. So yeah, so we're going to start with these little intros. Just 4 questions. What's your name? Where are you from? Your favorite rock star. That doesn't have to be a rock star. Could be any genre. Could even be non-music related, and then one thing you hope to gain from this course. All right, so name, where you're from, favorite rock star, one thing you hope to gain from the course. So I'll go first, and then I'm just going to kind of go left to right. On my screen right now, I've got CJ, then Mike, then Paul, then David, then RJ, then Angelique, then Jacob, then Alex, then Courtney, then Les, then Jesse. So that's how it's looking right now, but it sometimes shifts around if people come in. But yeah, okay. So my name's Gary Heimbauer. Some people asked me, there was follow-up questions about my background, which I never talk about. So I will just mention that. So I'm a former public school music teacher. So I did my undergrad in music education, and then I became a music teacher, taught pre-K through 5th grade general music, and then I did 3rd, 4th, and 5th concert band, which then turned into jazz band, which then turned into modern band, which is just popular music and songwriting. So I did that, got tenure, did that for a few years. Then I worked for Little Kids Rock, which gives free instruments to underserved public schools throughout the country and worldwide. And I was their training director, so I trained music teachers, traveled around the country and the world a little bit, training music teachers on how to do popular music with their students. Then I was the curriculum director, so I designed their curriculum and created like a lot of videos, sequential video lessons and stuff, which is kind of how I got into the content creation. And then I left there in 2017 to start PAL Music. And yeah, not that you all have to give me your bio, just figured I'd put that out there in case anyone's interested because someone posted about it on Facebook. All right, so what's your name? Where are you from? Favorite rock star? One thing you hope to gain from this course. So now I'll actually model how we might do this. My name's Gary Heimbauer. I'm from New York, but I live in Austin, Texas. Favorite rock star, I'm gonna go with who have I been listening to a lot? Jose Gonzalez, singer songwriter. And one thing I hope to gain from this course, just to learn how to better help everyone reach their goals and differentiate, so that no matter what level you're at, you feel like you're moving forward at a pace that works for you. Thank you. And then so next we have CJ, and then on deck is Mike.
Oh yeah, my name's CJ. I live in LA. Favorite rock star. I mean, I always like Jimi Hendrix. And what I hope to get out of this is just understanding of the fretboard. I've been playing on and off, since high school. Never really spent a lot of time practicing, just kind of noodling. So I'm not the greatest there, but I got some whatever, I could play some things, but that's about it. But hopefully just to get to understand the instrument and get better at it. That's it.
Thank you, CJ. Where did you say you're from? I'm sorry.
So I live in LA.
In LA. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, and then on deck is Paul Davies. Mike, you're muted. There we go. Oh no, now you're muted again. I thought I heard you for a second. Well, your mic, it says that your mic is off.
Okay, you can hear me now, right?
Yes, now
I
we
just
hear you,
forgot
but
to
we don't
unmute.
see you.
Hang on. Okay, hi
Now
everyone.
we
I'm
got it
Mike.
all. Excellent.
I'm living in Japan. I'm from San Diego, California, and I've been out here for about 25 years, and I'm a teacher. And as for guitarist I like Joe Strummer. I like Jeff Beck, Prince, Wes Montgomery, Trey Anastasio, and others. What I want from the course is I just want to get better. So I've been playing for quite a while, and there's so much that I've learned and picked up on YouTube or from in different ways, but I just wanted to kind of put it all together. And so that happened as I went through the course the first time. And so now what I want to do is just get better with what I'd learned. So I learned, for example, all of the shapes, excuse me, across the fretboard, all of the major scales. And then we learned that there was like inside each major scale shape, there was a pentatonic shape, and then there were arpeggios. And then we learned there were seventh chord arpeggios. So I just want to get better with everything that we already covered, or that I'd covered in the first time through, and then be able to put all of that into my playing. So I'm just trying to get better at the guitar. And I like the course that Gary put together. And I think it's great that he's done it. So thanks, Gary. And I just want to get better. That's my goal.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. All right, so Paul and then David.
Hi all, I'm Paul. I'm from the UK, Great Britain, and if I can make that work, you might be able to see where I am at the bottom of that, the little red dot there, in the south of England, Great Britain. What do I want to get? Oh, sorry, let's get it the right way around. So, big blues fan. I guess probably my favourite is Peter Green, but lots of others, and I've been playing for as long as I can remember, and I just want to stitch all this information together, understand it better. And yeah, just understand what I'm doing a lot more rather than just copying other people.
Thank you, Paul. David and then RJ.
Hi, I'm David. I live in Manhattan, in New York City. I'm in New York City, and I'm self-taught since high school, mostly a rhythm player. I have no concept of scales. I mean, I didn't have until recently. I started watching YouTube videos, and I wanted to, I want to be able to play more leads and melodies than rhythms. I felt, very restricted, and I want to take some lessons rather than teach myself, which, I reached sort of a kind of a plateau. So I'm trying to break out of that plateau. Favorite music or guitarist? I'm a classic rock person, and the favorites always change around, but you're talking about the Beatles, the Who, Zeppelin, and obviously Jimmy Page Hendrix and those types of players. Nice to meet everybody.
Awesome. Thanks, David. So we've got RJ and then Angelique.
Hi, my name is RJ, and tried to take the course before, signed up, and unfortunately life got a little bit in the way. And I've been playing for a while, but like, on and off, same thing, and just want to learn more. And so that's why I'm here. Oh, favorite rock. I don't really have a favorite, but lately I've been listening to Jason Isbell. I saw him in concert recently. So, all right.
Awesome. Where are you living, RJ?
Oh, I live in a town right outside of Las Vegas, Henderson, but nobody knows where that is, but I live in Vegas, basically grew up here.
Cool.
Want to know more
Yeah,
about
I like just thinking of like the connections globally, like where, it's all leading. So thank you for that. All right, Angelique and then Jacob.
My name is Angelique. I live in, I'm from Roanoke, Virginia. I primarily listen to jazz music. So I like musicians like Oscar Peterson, Pat Metheny, George Benson, Norman Brown. I'm pretty much a beginner, so I'm hoping to just improve and have a well-rounded understanding of the fretboard, because I never did. I just did shapes and didn't understand what I was doing. So I'd like to have a better understanding, especially now that I have musician friends. So I'd like to be able to communicate with them better. Yep, that's me.
Gary, you're on mute.
You're on mute, Gary.
Oh, thank you. I was saying like that's a cool thing to be able to nerd out with your musician friends and be like, oh yeah, the way she ended the song on that major seventh, that's why I love Amy Winehouse. It's just so good. Yeah. So that's awesome. Angelique, I was just thinking, I listened to Bright Size Life in the car on the way home from San Antonio 2 days ago. What a devastating album. So good. Pat Metheny's like first album. So thank you for mentioning all that. Great. So Jacob and then Alex.
Hey everyone, my name's Jacob. I am living in Philadelphia, originally from Missouri. For favorite rock star, I think maybe Paul Simon for some nostalgic reasons. And then to get out of this course, I think just having some accountability on practicing and what to practice and kind of how to move forward even after this course is over.
Thank you, Jacob. I appreciate that. Where did you say you were from?
Missouri.
Missouri. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Next up, we have Alex and then Courtney.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm Alex. I'm from London. I'd consider myself a campfire guitarist. So anytime friends are around, I can like strum a few chords, get the classics going. Favorite rock star, I'd probably say BB King. Huge fan of blues. And basically, it was just like this course was hopefully there to understand why he is so good. Like, I'll pick up a little riff that he's done that's amazing, but I have no idea why it's good. So that's all part of it, to basically aspire to be like him one day, maybe.
Awesome. Thank you. And Courtney and then Jesse and then Les and then Anand.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Courtney. Everybody calls me Sammy. I think we went over that already.
Right.
I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, but I stay down here in Nashville, Tennessee. My favorite rock stars are, well, the past is Jimi Hendrix for sure, and present is Aaron Marshall. huge fan of Aaron Marshall. What I want to get out of this is to unlock the board and be comfortable, you know, move around freely. That's about it.
Thank you. Jesse, then Les, then Anand.
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Jesse Jacobs. I'm from Syracuse, New York. It's kind of hard to name one rock star that I like. Recently, I've been listening to Kirk Fletcher, Robin Ford, Matt Schofield. So kind of more bluesy orientated. And I hope to get a little bit more in-depth knowledge of the scales and be able to actually know what I'm playing. So just thinking it sounds good.
Thank you. And then we've got Les.
Hey everyone, how you doing? My name's Les Walmsley. I'm from Rhode Island. My biggest music influences, well, my favorite band right now is probably Gojira. My biggest music influence would be James Jamerson, and my favorite rock star would probably be Prince. Going back to James Jamerson, I've been playing bass for years, so that's what I'm trying to get out of this course, is trying to make the transition to playing guitar, because that stupid string being a B and not a C drives me nuts. So trying to get this under my fingers, and this course looked like it would work out for me. So nice to meet everyone. Thank you.
Oh, that's right. You don't have to deal with that tuning issue there. Yeah. All right, Anand. So Anand, if you're there, you could unmute or turn your camera on, but maybe you stepped away. I'll circle back to Anand. All right. Wow. So that went so much faster than Thursday for those that were here Thursday. So we could take our time and get into some content now. So just a few things though, actually though, right. I forgot there's all the tips for success in the course, right? So, sorry, Jacob, when you went, I got a little distracted because someone had asked me, they said, I was here already. Do I have to stay here again? And I was just responding to them. So yes, if you're here, you don't have to come to 2 sessions. Some people have, and they found it really valuable, like to Mike and Jesse, you know, like Joseph Alpert from the last cohort came to every single session. And it made sense that he made so much progress because he really just tried to absorb everything. So, you know, the sessions are a little different. Sometimes I learn things on Thursday that didn't work so well. And then I do on Saturday, I kind of change it a little bit to make it a little more, just make the flow a little better. You know, sometimes depending on who's in the room or the size of the group could have an impact, right? Like here, we're probably going to cover more stuff because it's a smaller group. So yeah, try to make one. If not, if you have the time, come to 2. You could always just practice on mute and just listen. You know, unlike a live course where if I was teaching guitar, I'd tell everyone, put your guitars down. You guys can play them while I'm talking, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's the deal with the classes. As far as a lot of people stop coming to the classes historically because they're not up to that unit. And the units are locked, so you can't get to the next, you can't skip around units. I do that on purpose because a lot of you know what it's like to just get random bits of information in a scattered order, where I want you to kind of follow the straight and narrow path that I put together, right? So I used to do enforced video watching, the first cohort, where you literally had to watch the entire video. I really suggest you do that because I'm assuming throughout the course that you've heard every word I said. And so if you get to a point where you're like, I don't really know what he's talking about, then ask yourself, did I skip anything? Because if you did, that might be why. I mean, of course, we only retain a certain percentage of anything we listen to and read. So there's that. But yeah. So my point was, come to the live session even if you're not up to that. So I'll always send out the link, even if you can't access the Zoom link because it's in the intro of a unit that you're not up to yet. I'll email you the link every week. So come, even if you're stuck in unit 3 and we made it to unit 6 or something like that, and that happens, it might happen to some of you, still come to the session so that you have it as a primer for what's to come. It will really help in that regard. As far as like when the assignments, it's always best to watch, if you are current, it's best to watch all the videos before these sessions, because the videos demonstrate things using the Fret Live animations and graphics. It's just, it does what I can't do verbally. Like you'll see, I'm going to share the screen and draw and do things like that, but try to watch the videos, then come to the session. And then as far as the assignments, whether you do them before or after really doesn't matter. You know, tomorrow's the last day before the new content comes for Unit 2. So, but some people, like a lot of times will do the assignment in these sessions. Like we'll do it as a group, whatever the assignment was, and we'll kind of collaborate. Or you'll go in little groups and do an assignment for yourself. And then you could literally, right after the session, just press record and then share what you did in the session. So yeah, that's that. As far as a lot of people here might, okay, so theory is important and it really helps, and understanding the shapes and the chord forms and the intervals and all that we're going to go over. But to me, applying the theory is where it really starts to coalesce and become part of your playing. So that's why for every unit, there is songs to learn, right? Like, so if the chromatic scale sounds like this, if it sounds like, if that's the sound of chromaticism, then why don't we go, how does this one go? You know, why don't we learn how to apply that chromaticism in the context of a song? So every week, that's how it is. Oh, we're learning 7th chords? Let's check out this buffet of great songs that use 7th chords. So the theory, if you just follow the theory, you will understand everything in the course. I promise. If you go video by video and you are, you know, paying attention, I've tried to lay it out in a way that you'll get it all, and you'll have a firm grasp of diatonic harmony, which means playing in a key, which most of the music we listen to is in a key. As far as becoming a better player, that's where the song assignments and the creative activities come into play. So I would focus your efforts on really trying to use the opportunity to learn some songs, create some songs, or little ditties, or little melodies, or little sketches, and share them. You know, through that process of putting a video together or a recording of some sort, you just become such a better player. When it's just you alone in your room, there's no kind of like deadline. There's no, oh, I've got to share this with someone. So I'm trying to give you that. Like, I'm giving you deadlines, weekly deadlines. I'm giving you a forum to share in. If you're not in the Facebook group, email me. I'll check them out on email. A couple of you email me. I know I'm behind. I've got to check those out. But yeah, and give your peers feedback. Let them know that you're listening, that you're watching. The first couple days I saw a lot of feedback, but the last 4 days I haven't seen. I noticed I was the only one commenting on a lot of videos. So if you could subscribe to the Facebook group, meaning turn on notifications, that's a really good thing to do, and I'll show you real quick how you could do that. And try to leave encouraging feedback instead of, you know, oh, you know, this is what you should have done instead, that kind of thing. Like at this point, we really want to encourage people to keep going. And if you could find something that you liked in whatever someone did, you know, like right here, I wrote to Roger, your high E string vibrato is really good. That's one thing I noticed. For some of you, this morning, I wanted to make sure I commented before this. I didn't leave very specific feedback, but when I can, I try to. So that's just, you might want to look for something that stood out to you. But here, where it says joined, so right here on the screen, where it says you're joined, click that, and then it says manage notifications. On manage notifications, what you're going to want to do is turn on all posts. And that way you'll get a little notification anytime one of your classmates or I post. Otherwise you won't, and then you'll have to physically go to the group to see if anyone's posted anything. So that's just a suggestion there. And yeah, so I know a lot of you don't use Facebook, and I'm thinking about options. I'm still using it because the majority of you are on it already, and it's just so familiar and easy that that's kind of why I'm using it. But so that's the Facebook group. And then what else do we have here? The live sessions we talked about. Okay, this is another big thing right here. So there's so much in this course. Mike, who's here, said, I learned a lot of it, but I didn't fully incorporate it into my own playing the first time around. So I'm coming back a second time to incorporate it more. That's great that Mike has the privilege to be able to take the course twice, right? Know that the course is not expiring. When the course is over, it's not like, okay, you don't get to see the content anymore. You have lifetime access until, Teachable goes bankrupt or something, or the internet goes down, and, we end up in some dystopia that hopefully isn't approaching. But anyway, you have lifetime access as far as I know. So focus on as much as you can, as much as you feel that you could fully comprehend and digest in a week. So Mike talked about, we learned all the different positions of say the major scale, and then how those relate to the pentatonic scale and to arpeggios and to chords, blah, blah, blah. It's not blah, blah, it's important stuff. But you might just focus on one, right? And I tell you each week with this 80-20 principle, like this 20% of the shapes, for me personally, gives me 80% of the results. So maybe you just want to focus on those and just put the others in the queue, right? So I'm going to keep telling you that, but a lot of people don't take it to heart. So much of us, we want to do everything. So it's like, oh, I know he said only focus on one thing, but I'm going to try to do everything. And then you get overwhelmed. So just focus on as much as you could digest each week. Any questions so far about any of the things I'm saying? And then as far as the units, so there's 12 units spread out over 16 weeks. So we do the first three units, then there's a break week. It's not really a break week, it's just a week to catch up. And then there's another 3 units, and then a week to catch up, then the next 3 units, then a week to catch up, and then the last 3 units. So that's how it goes. I will tell you that a lot of people, excuse me, I've got macadamia nuts in my throat. I will tell you that a lot of people drop off. And, this first week is really exciting because there's so much optimism and everyone has these great goals. But then I start to see these sessions get thinner and thinner, and the posts become, some people that were posting in the beginning stop posting, and and I want to change that. I want to find out how to retain everyone through to the end. But I think what ends up happening is, like I said, people are trying to do everything and start to get overwhelmed. So that's the big thing. And if you need any coaching from me, like, hey, Gary, this is how I'm feeling. It's not working out. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I need, send me an email and I'll try to help you just in terms of perspective and game plan for where you're at. If any of you took like my soloing for complete beginners course, this is totally opposite. That was like, you might be able to do that one in a day and feel great about yourself. This one's like everything in the kitchen sink. You know, there's just a lot in here. Okay, so that's that on, oh, and then practicing. So the last thing before we get into the content is how you might want to practice. So it's just the practicing a little every day, sleeping on it. You know, those connections in your brain solidify while you're sleeping, and then they figure out what they got to do. There's so much happening subconsciously in the learning process when we spread it out over a day, and then we sleep, and then the next day, and then we sleep, versus trying to do it all in one day. So I would just try to give yourselves a block of time that no matter what's going on in your life, you do not let anything interfere with that block of time so that you could really get the most out of it. If you could practice an hour a day, that's amazing. You know, if you could practice 30 minutes a day, that's still good. If you could practice 2 or 3 hours a day, some people come in here and they're like, yeah, I'm retired. You know, I'm playing all day long. You know, that's great. I'm sure most of us have jobs, so there's that as well. But yeah, try to spread it out instead of, you know, 5 hours in one day. 5 hours over 5 days is much better. Any thoughts, questions, comments, concerns thus far? All right, let's get into the content. Okay, so this week was really easy in the sense that there wasn't like, compared to Unit 3, the major scale, where we get into some heavy theory. The cool thing about this week is that there was no right or wrong. There was no harmonic principles of being in a key or anything like that. Really, we're just setting the stage for the rest of the course. We've got 12 notes to work with and 12 intervals to work with. But really, the big thing is, even though there's 12 notes, everything is about 7, this magic number 7, right? We have 12 notes, but we only have 7 letters. And this facilitates diatonic harmony, which is what this course is really about understanding, which is being in a key, where we have 7 notes in a key. So this whole system is set up to facilitate being in a key, right? You don't have to use it that way. There's plenty of, you know, like players that break all the rules, which is fine. But we've got these 7 letters, and then in between, we have these sharps and these flats, right? So we have 7 what we call natural notes, and then we have 5 sharps or flats. Now, every sharp is also a flat, and every flat is also a sharp. When we call it sharp and when we call it flat depends on what key we're in, so we're not going to talk about that yet. Right now, we just want to know what their names are, right? So we also want to remember that between E and F, which you'll find all over the fretboard, between E and F and between B and C, we have no sharp or flat, right? Between E and F and between B and C, we have no sharp or flat. And a way to remember that is, you know, in 5000 BC, no one knew Ella Fitzgerald. Ella Fitzgerald being that great jazz singer. And yeah, so there's other ways to remember it that I learned a way that's kind of profane, so I don't use it anymore. But any way that might work for you is good. And as far as when we play a sharp and when we play, I mean, as far as what a sharp note is versus what a flat note is. Let's say we start on D. If we want to play a D sharp, we just go up a half step in pitch, right? So that D is on the 3rd fret of the B string. If I want to play a D sharp, da, I go up, and with the kids, remember I'm an elementary school teacher, you know, I'd say like if you sat on a sharp thumbtack, you would go up. You would jump up, right? And then if you got a flat tire, you would go down in pitch. So D, D flat, D, D sharp. Yep. Okay. So I know this is for most of you, you're probably like yawning already because this is so obvious, but it's just has to be, it has to be said, because it's, again, like my whole goal is starting from the very beginning and then working our way up, right? So the very beginning is the chromatic scale. The very beginning is all 12 notes, all 12 notes. And as we saw with the intervals, every one of these notes has a very specific sound to any other note. So any note in isolation is doesn't have a sound. I mean, it has a sound. It vibrates at a certain frequency, right? Like, let's all play this note right here. So I'm going to make a loop of it. I'm actually going to double that loop like this. So right now, that note, it doesn't really do anything. It's just one note. But now, if I play this note, suddenly everything changes. Whoa. Whoa. Imagine this was a movie. What might be happening? What kind of a scene might it be? Right? Okay, so harmonic principles are principles of how things sound. And how things sound mean how they feel, right? So all these intervals have a very different feeling. We want to understand each one because we're going to put these intervals together in different ways to create different scales and different chords. So this week was all about no right or wrong, explore how these intervals sound, right? So this first one is a minor second. All right? This first one is a minor second. Now, it is completely irrelevant what the names of these notes are. I'm just going to say that a couple times. It's completely irrelevant what the names of these notes are. It's all about what my starting note is and the distance of these notes relative to that starting note. So I want to make a point right off the bat. Let's say I made this my starting note. So this note is A sharp. So let's say I made that my starting note. It happens to be A sharp where this happened to be E. I could make you the same loop. I'm going to go back in time. Let's play that 3rd fret on the G string. And now we're just going to call that one. All right? And now I'm going to call this flat 2, which happens to be the note B. Or you know what? Let's just call this note B flat. We'll call this B flat, and we'll call this B. And now I'm going to make the same loop with the note B flat. Here we go. Okay, now I'm going to play the 4th fret. Imagine that scene. Right? Everything happened at a lower frequency, but it was the same tense sound that would have worked in that same horror movie you might have thought of, right? It's the same quality. So it's all about the interval between two notes and not what notes they are specifically. So I want you to just decouple the idea of, I want you to realize that intervals are universal and note names are incidental, right? The note names is just way less important to understanding why something sounds the way it does. Okay, another thing is this happens to be the note E, and this happens to be the note F. Notice how it's not F flat, right? The interval is flat. The note name is not flat. So just because an interval is flat, a minor second, a note name doesn't have any, a note name isn't a minor note, you know, like F isn't a major note or a minor note. There's no it's just the note. It's just the name, right? So decouple the idea of a flat interval being a flat note or a sharp interval being a sharp note. That doesn't matter. Between E and F, which is a half step apart, is a minor second. It's the smallest interval we have, a minor second, also known as a semitone, also known as a half step. So between E and F, we have a half step, also known as a semitone, also known as a minor second. Yeah. Any questions about that so far? Yes, I see a hand raised.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. Why is it minor?
Good
Does
question.
it make any difference, or do we just need to know that?
That's
Or
a
remember
good question. So it all comes down to the sound of the major scale. So when we get to the major scale, you're going to see the major scale is made up of these notes, which are a tonic, a major second, a major third, a perfect fourth, a perfect fifth, a major sixth, a major seventh, back to the tonic. So those are the intervals of the major scale. Let's play it together. Let me go back to that little loop. Yeah, okay. Yep. So in general, the major ones are a half step higher than the minor ones, right? You see that? Let's see it here. You know, minor third, half step lower than a major third. Minor sixth, half step lower than a major sixth. Minor seven, half step lower than the seventh. So think about it in two ways. The major intervals you could count on being in the major scale. The minor intervals, not necessarily count on as being in the minor scale. There are some major intervals in the minor scale. But think of that the major intervals are native to the major scale, and that to make them minor, you just go down a half step. Does that suffice for now as a way to think about it?
Yeah, that helps. Thanks.
Okay, cool. So, yep, okay, so we had the sound of a minor second. Many will say this is the most dissonant interval because the notes are so close together, they clash. Right? You hear that? All right, let's hear, and then we have a major second. Notice how we only have 7. We only go up to 7. Just like our note names, there's only 7. It's this whole system of 7s that put us in a key. A key has 7 notes. We're going to get into that in Unit 3. But okay, so now that was a minor second. Now we have a major second. Let's hear how that sounds. Less dissonant, right? A little sweeter. Think again about your movie. Think about visuals. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the minor second. Right? Something just went sour there. Yeah, okay. Now, all right, so now we have a minor third right here. Minor third. Let's hear how that sounds. Let's hear all three that we played so far. There's the major second, minor second, minor third, major second, minor second, back to the tonic. And did you feel how when I went back to the tonic, it was like, oh, okay, no more tension. We're back to the tonic. Okay, then we have a major third. Listen to how different than all the other intervals we've played so far the major third sounds like. Oh, I like this scene in the movie. I feel very relaxed. I see an open field. It's sunny out. Now I'm going to go to the minor third. I just thought about how I owe the IRS some money. Major second. Kind of neutral. Minor second. Uh-oh. Back to the tonic. Right? So music is always a play of tension and release. That's really, it's a drama of tension and release. So music that's boring might have no tension at all and it could get boring, but maybe you make it exciting with cool rhythms, right? A lot of great jammy music has like one chord, but there's such exciting rhythms happening that aspect of music makes it exciting. Okay, perfect fourth. Now, why are these two intervals called perfect fourth and perfect fifth? So the fourth and the fifth are so stable in relation to the tonic. And because of like the natural overtone series, there's some science about it. It gets kind of deep. But they're pretty much every scale, minor, major, the modes we often use like Mixolydian, Dorian, you could count on the sound of a perfect fifth and a perfect fourth being there. The fifth vibrates at 1.5 times the frequency of the tonic, and the perfect fifth almost sounds like it's the same note. Like they're so, when we did the drone exercise, the two notes in your tuning were D and A, the root and the fifth. It almost sounded like one note. A power chord is a tonic and a fifth. Like when you hear like, that whole rock power chord sound, it's almost just a glorified root note. When you add a fifth to a root note, they are so part and parcel to each other. They're like brother and sister. They just sound so much the same. The perfect fourth, not quite that, but still so stable relative to the root. So let's hear the perfect fourth on the fifth fret. So there's the tonic, perfect fourth, right? Very stable, not tense. And this is subjective. You could disagree with me and you'd be right. There's no right or wrong. Okay, then the flat five or the sharp four. So this is either called an augmented fourth or a diminished fifth. Now this interval is really special. I mean, they're all special, but the augmented fourth or diminished fifth, and most of the time we refer to it as the diminished fifth, is so unstable. it was actually, legend has it, it was illegal to use it in a certain period of was it the Baroque? Because it was considered the devil's interval, and most music happened at church in the, like Western classical European culture. So this is called the devil's interval, the tritone, the diminished fifth. So let's hear this one. Now I'm going to push it up to the fifth, to the perfect fifth. You hear that? How strong that half step is? Diminished fifth, perfect fifth. So that's me going back and forth between All right, now I'm going to go to the perfect fourth, down a half step. Okay. Yeah, so you're going to get to know that sound. The goal is that I'm going to play a chord like this, and you're going to say, ooh, that's a diminished fifth. There's something diminished happening there. Okay. So then perfect fifth, let's hear that. It's so stable that it's almost going to sound like one note. Back to the tonic. Now the diminished fifth. Now the minor second, horror movie. Perfect fifth. Fourth. Perfect fourth. Major third. Major second. Minor second. Tonic. Okay, we're almost there. Then we've got what's known as the minor sixth or the augmented fifth. Minor sixth or augmented fifth. Most of the time we're going to refer to it as the minor sixth. And let's hear that one. That one could also sound a little dissonant. So that's going to be on fret 8. Now down to the perfect fifth. Back up to the augmented fifth. Yep. And then we've got the major sixth right here, major sixth. Let's hear the major sixth on the 9th fret. Less dissonant. Okay, then we've got one of my all-time favorite intervals, the minor seventh. Minor seventh. This one's great. A lot of people use this one in their examples. Now I'm going to go up to the tonic on fret 12. Toggle back and forth between 12 and 10. Flat 7 to 1. Then we've got the major seventh. And the major seventh, it's interesting, the major seventh can sound really sweet, but it could also sound really tense, because notice how it's only a half step or a minor second away. It's a minor second away. So we could talk about intervals as a distance. So this seventh is a minor second away from that tonic. But as far as its interval relative to the tonic, it's a major seventh. So that's a discrepancy. We might sometimes talk about the interval between two notes, Like, in other words, the interval between these two notes is a minor second. What those notes are relative to this key of E, or relative to a tonic of E, is the root and the major seventh. But distance-wise, they're a minor second. So let's hear how that sounds. So you could hear a little bit of that tension, right? Back up to the tonic. Okay, so that is the interval. So I'm gonna put together little groups of intervals, and we're gonna jam, and I'm gonna ask for volunteers on this. But before we do that, let me just summarize and then see if there's any questions. So here's our intervals: minor second, minor third, perfect fourth, aug or diminished fifth, perfect fifth, minor sixth, major sixth, minor seventh, major seventh octave. Some rules: the flat symbol means minor. Unless it's a flat five, then it means diminished. The sharp symbol only occurs once for all intents and purposes in this course, and that is a sharp 4, and that means augmented. So the only time you're going to see a sharp interval is considered augmented. If there's no symbol in front of the interval, that means it's major, unless we're talking about 4 and 5, and then it's perfect. So that's just a little way to remember these intervals so that you have it clear. And now, are there any questions about anything we just went over? Yes, Paul.
Again.
And then David.
On your video, you said, we're going to keep coming back to this. Please do, because it's going to take a while for this to get into my head.
Yes, yeah. This course is a study of intervals. So spend time with each one of these intervals, like I just did with my loop. Get to know how they sound. Give them a name. Give them a sound. Give them a name. It's really gonna help so much. There was someone else that had a question or a comment. Courtney.
Yes, you said look at them as distance. I didn't understand that part.
Yes. So here's an example. Like one really guitaristic thing to do is, let's say, play these two notes together. See if you could play those two notes at the same time. Actually, I'm going to give you an example. Play these two notes next, and then play these notes, but separate them. So you'll go like this. Yes. Now, what's going on here? We're in the key of C. That is scale degree 1. This is scale degree 3 of a C major chord. Then of a D minor chord, this is scale degree 1, and then flat 3. And then this is 1, and then this is flat 3. So that's relative to, I'm defining them relative to these notes. I'm defining the intervals relative to this being the starting note. So if this is the starting note, C, then I'm going to call that note on the D string a major third. Now if I call this note, the note D on the 3rd fret of the B string, 1, then I call this note flat 3. Then I call that note 1. So this is a sequence of notes where we have note number 1, and then we have note 3. Now here's an example. The note here is C. What is up in the alphabet 3 from C? C, D, E. This note is E. So here we have C and E. Do you see how E would be considered 3? C, D, E. Does that make sense? Okay. Then we have D. What's up 3 from D? D, E, F. So here we have D and F. Then here we have E. What's up 3 from E? E, F, and G. So this is G, this is E. So do you see how we could think of it as 1 and 3? Right? 1 and 3, 1 and 3, 1 and 3. 1
Yes,
and 3.
sir.
Okay, thanks. So then, if we don't give any of them the distinction of being 1, and we just look at it as a pure interval, we look at it as a pure interval without giving one of them the title of number 1, right? So we don't call C number 1 anymore. We don't call D number 1 anymore. We don't call E number 1 anymore. Then, what is the distance between E and C? Okay? What is the actual distance between this E and the C? Watch this. E, F, G, A, B, C. You see I had 6? From E to C is 6. E, F, G, A, B, C. So now the actual distance from this E up in pitch to this C is the interval of a major sixth. Okay? Even though the note, the lowest note is the third relative to the highest note, the interval from the lower note to the higher note is a sixth. Okay? So from what we called the third to the root, for the third to get all the way up to the root, it's got to go a sixth, right? If I put this note E as the open E string, same note, then it would be the interval of a third, and it would be the third of the key, and it would be the interval of a third. But since I put this third below the root, now the true interval, without considering what's 1 and what's 3, is the interval of a sixth. One good way to memorize that is that 6 plus 3 is 9. So a compound interval always equals 9. Forget I even said that. That's getting too complicated. But my point here is that we could look at as an interval where we don't give any of the notes the distinction of being the tonic or the third or whatever, and just think of the pure distance between them. Or we could think of an interval as, what is this note relative to the tonic C? It's the third. It's the third. But we're playing it a sixth below. That's a better way of explaining it, I think. So if I want to play this note C, and I want to play this note E, okay? The pure distance between them is a sixth. But relative to this note being 1, this is a 3. You guys got me? I'm sure it sounds a little confusing, but do you got me? Paul Davies.
Yes, sir. I guess.
Great. You said yes, I guess?
Could you
That's
show,
good for now.
Could you show an example of a sixth on, let's say, the E string and the D string?
Sure.
A sixth
So,
below.
right. So let's say I want to put this note here, F, right? What would be the major third of F? F, G, A, right? Let's just go with that. F, G, and A. You with me there?
Yes.
So if this is 1, A would be the third. If I play it here, there's no discrepancy. 1 to 3. See if you could play that. So we've got that's F and A. That's a major third. Now what if I put that A here? And now I play these two notes like this. I go. I'm still playing the tonic and the major third, but the distance between them is now a sixth. Let me demonstrate. From this 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got to go up 6. I've got to go up a full sixth to get from that third to that tonic. So the point is we sometimes talk about intervals as just pure distance without considering what's the tonic, what's the third, blah, blah, blah. Just pure distance. The pure distance between these two notes is a sixth. So in other words, if here's our sixth and here's our root, let's see what I mean. This note F, I could also play here on the 13th fret. Okay? If we went across a single string, how many frets up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see if that matches here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Where did I mess up here? I messed up somewhere. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why is it a flat 6? Oh, because it's a minor sixth. So the absolute interval is a minor sixth. But the point is, it's a kind of sixth that we have. So we have a kind of sixth instead of a third as an absolute interval. So relative to the tonic, this note is the 1, and this is a major third. But as an absolute interval, it's a minor sixth. Make sense? Okay. All right. I've actually never harped on this point, I don't think, really very much. But I'm glad I did. I think I'm glad I did. Paul.
So can I just check the tonic and the first,
Mm-hmm.
the 1. So they're different notes. So the tonic and the 1 is 1 up relatively from the tonic. They're not the same.
No. The tonic is always the 1.
Is the 1.
The tonic
right,
could
okay.
only ever be called the 1.
So in that case, that's an E. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
E
In
and the
this
1.
case, it's the E.
Yeah,
And
okay.
then, yeah, but like if I wanted to play this third, which is the note G sharp, if I wanted to play that G sharp right here, there's another place to play the G sharp. See the difference? So here's tonic and major third.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to play that G sharp on the B string on the first fret. You see,
Yeah,
same
see-
note, same harmony. Or here.
It's lower.
But being I'm now playing that third below, the absolute distance
Yeah.
in this case is a minor sixth from the third up to the tonic. So if I put this tonic E, if I put it on the 7th fret here, that's the note E. Now I'm sorry, where are we? I meant on the 9th fret. If I put it on the 9th fret, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I went up 8, which according to our graph, if I go up 8 frets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is the interval of a minor sixth. So to get from that 3 to the 1 is a minor sixth, but the intervals that I'm playing relative to E are the root and the third. Yeah. Questions?
Should I be understanding this now, or do I have to get it now?
No, you don't have to. Just right now, just think about these intervals relative to the 1 across this continuum. That's all I would recommend you understand at this point.
And then those intervals are just the natural ones that we're noting. Well, and then the ones before are the minor or the flats, as you call it, or no?
Well, this is all the intervals. This is all there are.
Oh, I
There's
see.
There's only 12 notes, and these are their names, and these are their interval names.
Okay.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, this is all we're going to call them. You will hear people say, like, maybe one day you'll hear someone call this an augmented tonic or something like this, something weird, something strange like that. But right now, this is all we're going to call them. My whole point was just that between an interval, this is the best place to see it. This is where we started. Between these notes, if I crossed out their name, I think this is going to help summarize it with me. So stick with me here. If I didn't give any of these a distinction of being anything, how far apart are they? That's the point we were trying to make. How far apart are these two notes?
They're right next to each other.
Right. They're right next to each other in interval language.
Half a tone.
Yes, they're a half a tone. Now give them an interval, an interval number.
1.
This is how you know. What is this called? What's the name of this interval?
It's a minor second.
Right. It's a minor second. Do you see how they're the same thing? You see how they're both 1 fret apart is called a minor second?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. 1 fret apart is the interval of a minor second. So without giving these notes any distinction of being part of any scale or being relative to any starting point, do you see how they're the same distance?
Yes.
Okay, so
Is
that
always
is...
the case, Gary?
Say again?
Sorry to interrupt. So 1 fret apart is always equal to a minor second.
1 fret apart is always equal to a minor second when just analyzing pure distance without giving any note a distinction of being the tonic of a chord. Yes. So there's 2 ways to talk about intervals. One is pure distance, minor second, right? The other is its note, what that note is relative to this being the tonic. If that's the tonic and this is the tonic, both of these are the tonic, then this note is called the major seventh. It's called the major seventh. But if I play those notes together, I'm playing the interval of a minor second. Right? So here I'm going to play... all right, so if I play an E major chord, here's an E major chord. If I play this note on the 11th fret, that's the major seventh, right? But now if I play this E major chord up here, and then I play that note on the 11th fret, I'm still playing the major seventh. The name of that note didn't change, but now in my chord, I've created the interval of a minor second because in that instance, I played the high E on the high E string. So within my chord, there's a cluster of a minor second as an interval, as a pure distance, but still my scale degrees were the same. I still am going to call that E flat, that D sharp, I'm still going to call it a major second, but it's just a half step away or a minor second away from, okay. This sentence summarizes it with me. Ready? So the major seventh was the major seventh I played was a minor second away from the root. The major seventh I played was a minor second away from the tonic. The major seventh in my chord was a minor second away from the tonic. You guys with me? Okay. All right. I think we should move on. Paul?
So just last question, sorry. So when I learned music to start with, you kind of learn, I did piano ages ago, so it's, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp. Is it worth us learning these in the same, is it worth us committing these to memory? The minor second, major second, minor third, major third.
100% way. I would actually say more important even than the note names. Yeah.
Well,
especially for this course. Yeah, especially for this course. Because note names do not give you any indication of distance or interval or harmony, whereas the numbers spell out all the distances which create the sounds and the harmony.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so with that in mind, here's just a few things that I heard a lot of in your creative drone activities. So this is one tonality I heard a lot of, and I want you to just hear what this sounds like. So I'm creating a scale here. Okay, so over this, let me create another drone. So let's just explore 1, 2, I'm sorry, 1, 2, minor 3, 4, 5, minor 6, minor 7, 1 as a tonality, as a collection of notes. So I just want you to freely explore this tonality. Yeah, any volunteers want to unmute and explore for all of us to witness your exploration? Please try to be as brave as you can in these sessions, because it's a great opportunity to feed off the energy of the people in the room, even though it's a virtual room and we're just pixels, but we're really here. Mike, go for it.
Could you turn the drone up a bit?
Yes. All right, I'm going to pause you for a second. That sounded awesome, but you were playing major thirds, major sevenths, major sixes.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking.
So, can you try to just play the notes that I have circled here?
Oh, sorry, I wasn't looking at them.
No problem.
Okay, yeah, okay, I'm with you.
Yeah. Oh, hey, you know what, guys? I meant that was awesome, Mike. That sounded really great, but I made a mistake here. And then I was like, why is he playing that note? Oh, because I circled that note. So
Okay.
here we go. Yeah. Go for it again. So we got 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1. Yeah, let me hear you play that flat 6.
That's not it.
There you go. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. So you guys should think of it how you would want it to be a goal where you could hear someone play a scale and you could know, oh wait, no, they're playing a major six there, or they're playing a major third. That's not a right. So you guys want to really get to know the sound of these intervals, which is, we're going to do some ear training in a second, which will help get you on that pathway. So that was awesome. Thank you. Let's try a different tonality here. Let's try this one. I also heard this one a lot. Okay, let's noodle in this one for a bit and see how this goes. All right, volunteer. Who would like to noodle in this collection of intervals? Yes, Courtney, go for it.
All right. All right.
Awesome, Courtney. So one thing I want to bring up, and I think this will help Courtney and a lot of you, if you're on a computer, go to the little microphone icon on the bottom left of your Zoom screen and go to audio settings. So you click the little arrow, audio settings pops up, and then where it says suppress background noise, click low or off. So Zoom was trying to cancel out Courtney's guitar, which is why I was cutting in and out a little bit. So you want to, the suppress background noise, you want to turn that to low if you have it, or off if you have it. Mine is low. And that'll make a huge difference. And we'll ask Courtney to go again. You're going to see how much better you hear him. Were you able to do that, Courtney?
Yeah, I'm doing it now.
Okay. So now once you turn that background noise suppression to low or off, let's try that again and we're going to hear you a lot better.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Could you pop it back up on the screen?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. And then so we had. Yeah. I love those little slides you did. Excellent. That sounded great. Thank you. Okay, so let's actually finish up with some ear training. I'm going to play a melody, and I want you to tell me what intervals are in my melody. So you got to have your guitar in hand. You're going to use your ear. You might want to try to sing what I do. So if I go, try to go, and then see what the intervals are, and let me know in the chat what they are. And once I get a bunch of answers in, then I'll do the big reveal, and then we'll take it from there. All right, so here we go. Melody number 1. I won't use the same ones as yesterday because that would be boring for the people that came already. Okay. So there's actually 5 different notes here. I did a bunch of children's songs yesterday. I didn't do this hit though. So don't give me fret number, give me interval. So the numbers you write should be interval numbers. So you're gonna try to hum it. Da, 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 da. And you don't have to give me the exact order. Paul asked from the tonic. Yes. No, the interval's just based on my screen share. So if I play the open, that's called 1, right? If I play the 2nd fret, that's called 2. So all of this, yes, is relative to the note E, because I have this E drone going, and E is our tonic. So E is 1. All right, big reveal. 1, 2, 3. Oh, let me change my screen. Hold on a second. Okay, if you could see my guitar. So it's 0. I'm sorry. Interval wise. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1. 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. Yes, tonic, major 2nd, major 3rd, and then there was the 4th and the 5th. When I say interval numbers, you don't have to type out, like 3 means major 3rd, 2 means major 2nd, 4 means perfect 5th, 5 means 4 means perfect 4th, 5 means perfect 5th. Okay, here's the second part. I'm sorry. Sorry. Wait. There we go. Here it is. Again. Okay, that one was 5, 6, 5, 4, 3, 1, 5. Here's the on my guitar. 5, 6, 5, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 3, 1. All right, let's try one last one, but this one's going to be a little different. I'm sorry. Let me do that again. This is the last thing we're going to do here, and then I'm going to take any questions or comments anyone has. Okay, so that one went flat 7, flat 6, 5, 4, 5. Flat 7, flat 6, 5, 4, 5. So fretwise, 10, 8, 7, 8, 7, 5, 7. So flat 7, flat 6, 5, 4, 5. Or I think I went flat 7, flat 6, 5, flat 6, 5, 4, 5. Yeah. So it's a great thing to transcribe melodies by ear, right? Everything that I teach on YouTube, for instance, I always learn it all by ear, and then my goal is to help everyone see the context of the through the Fret Live animations and everything. But learning by, that's the holy trinity of becoming a better guitar player, is learn something as much as you can by ear, give it context. What are the intervals? What are the what key, what intervals, what's the structure, and then workshop it to make it your own. And I think those three things together really help bring everything together. So one thing I want to show you guys, usually these sessions go an hour and a half. The first one is definitely always a little bit longer, but I wanted to show you these two videos if you didn't see them yet. That I posted here. Okay, this one, Jonathan Kreisberg is the Victor Wooten video. Definitely watch this video. It's gonna give you, Victor Wooten is my spiritual guide when it comes to music. He's got a really good book called The Music Lesson. He's just such a great music philosopher, and he grew up in a very musical household and just has a cool perspective. This guy, Jonathan Kreisberg, I just love this video. Let's check this one out. This one's nice and short. Oh, we need sound. Let me share the sound here. Sorry. Oh no, where'd it go? Which video was it? It's right here. Okay. In case you ever wonder why your guitarist friend may seem a little out there. Sorry guys, I'm not sharing the sound. I've got to fix this. Okay, let's start that over.
I can hear it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, sounds working for me.
Okay. I mean, he played the same thing in 16 ways, right? Where on piano, we can only play it once. It's just, I thought it really encapsulates the plight and the opportunity of the guitar there. Cool. All right, that in mind, thank you guys for coming. Does anyone have any questions or comments before we part ways? I'm going to look at the chat. Paul, you are not in the group. Is that right? You didn't get approved?
I only put a request in this morning, so
Okay.
maybe you've not got round to it yet. But yeah, whenever you've got a chance.
Sounds good. We'll do that. Anand.
Hi everyone. So my question is, I was having some trouble in naming the intervals. Like when we were doing the last exercise, I was able to get the notes, but I was having a little trouble with the chart and just figuring out the correct name for the intervals. So there was just a comment I had, and is there a way to help in kind of getting it quicker? Since I was able to get it by ear, but it's just naming the correct name when I was following the fretboard. It took me a little while to get
Well, so as we go through the course, we're going to see what specific interval distances look like. It's easiest to understand across a single string, but it's hardest to actually find. In other words, if I ask you to play 1 and flat 7, it's so far apart that it's very hard to know that distance across a single string. The purpose of putting it all on a single string is just so you could see the real physical distance of the intervals. But in terms of memorization on a single string, it's much harder. Like as we go through the course, for instance, from a root to a major third, you're going to very quickly learn looks like that. That's very easy to see as opposed to seeing it like that. You know what I mean? Because there's so much distance. However, I would say definitely learn at least 1 to 3 across a single string. You know what I'm saying? Like really get to know tonic, minor second, second, minor third, major third, because that does happen within a scale position. We do go that far. Whereas we don't really go this far, when we're playing in position. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, just my whole point is you're supposed to use this as a visual during that exercise. Maybe you were trying to just work from memory, where I was purposefully sharing that visual with you. Don't feel obligated to memorize across a single string. To just know, boom, the 6 is right there. Up 9 frets from the tonic. I will say that you probably won't be using that kind of information very often because you'll probably be playing more in a position.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Courtney.
Yes, sir. I just got a question about the practice strategy.
Yep.
You said I just need help with that type of thing.
Yeah, so I would say whenever you're watching these videos, keep your guitar in hand, press pause a lot, rewind, play everything I try to play in the video, try to play it. You know what I mean? With the song and creative stuff, that's kind of the creative process is messy. There's no formula, right? Learning songs, slowing it down, working on one piece at a time. You know what I mean? In general, I tell people to spend at least 50% of their time working on their repertoire, which is songs. Just in general, as you become a more accomplished guitar player, songs is everything. We're trying to play songs. We're trying to create songs. We're trying to play songs. So songs also offer direction. There's a beginning, there's a middle, and an end. It's not an endless quest. It's like, can I play it or can I play it, right? So songs come with a structure to the practice. So I would just say during this course, I think you could stick to the same thing. 50% of the time, you're working on watching these videos and doing some of the practice things. And then 50% of the time, you're trying to nail the assignments, the song assignments for the week. I think that's a great way to split your time.
Okay, I got you.
Cool. Anyone else?
I got a quick question.
Yes.
I know you laid out the the high E string, the intervals.
Yep.
Is it going to be different on the rest of the strings, or is it going to be the same pattern? Like for me to memorize them, if I'm looking at it as 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I know automatically the ones in betweens are going to be flats. But and the way I can memorize it, that's easy for me, is like, okay, the natural notes are going to be my numbers on that string. So for the other strings, I'd imagine those natural notes are not going to be the same spot. So, but would it be the same way of memorizing the other strings of just those the 1, 2, 3, 4? Those are the natural notes on the string.
Okay, so you said natural notes. So first thing is, remember to decouple the idea of notes being natural and intervals being natural. So we don't have any natural intervals. We have major intervals and perfect intervals. And then we have minor intervals and augmented and diminished intervals. Natural notes don't have anything to do, like for instance, this note is F, right?
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
That's a natural note, but relative to E, it's a minor second. You know what I'm saying? So that goes, and relative to any starting note, like let's say we did this all on the D string, it would still be flat 2, 2, flat 3, you know what I mean? Or let's say we didn't do it on the D string. Let's say we just started randomly on any fret. If we call this note D, this happens to be the note D, if we call that 1, then this is flat 2, then this is 2, then this is flat 3, then this is 3, right? It's all just relative to any starting pitch, but the name of the pitch is completely irrelevant to the distance. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what, that's a major, no matter what, a major third is going to be up 4 frets from any tonic, whether it's a D sharp, an E flat, a G. Relative to this note, a major third is always going to be there. You know, if this is my starting note, then this is my major third right there. It's always going to be up 2 whole steps. And that goes for all the intervals. The minor second's always going to be up a half step. You follow me there?
Yeah. So like I understand and this is where I'm probably going to have trouble, because I learn things and probably learn things the wrong way, and they're already in my head. Like I understand like a half step and a whole step, you know what I mean, as intervals, and that's been my understanding of intervals.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying 1, 2, 3, 4. To me, those, okay, well, the 2 is the one, it's a full step, 3 is a full step, 4 is a half step.
Right.
And that's kind of how I view it. But I'm trying to, because you're saying memorize the whole string as an interval. So I'm trying to figure out a way where I can memorize, all the strings.
But all the strings are going to be identical as.
Oh, okay.
Like in other words, if I understand your question correctly, like if I called that 1, then I would literally just shift all these intervals down a string if I called that 1. But if you're talking about relative to this note 1, well, then this is a 5, and this is a flat 6, and then this is a 6, and then this is a flat 7. So in other words,
I see.
Relative to this note, you're going to have a whole, I would never expect you to memorize that during this unit. This unit is purely to just help you hear intervals and know their names. It's not to memorize anything at all. Yeah. Later in the course, we're going to start memorizing intervals across this direction.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Right now, you just want to hear the sounds of the intervals, which is universal, totally universal. Like, in other words, if I just start arbitrarily on the note F sharp, just on the 7th fret of the B string. And then I play a G. That's that minor second. It's the same minor second tension from the horror movie earlier between E and F, right? It doesn't matter where we start. A minor second sounds like a minor second. A major third sounds like a major third. That's the beauty of it, is that the principles here are universal to all notes, to all keys. A minor second always sounds like a minor second, whether it's between an E and F, whether it's between a G and a A flat, whether it's between a B and a C. It's just always going to sound that way. So really, this is about just sound, getting to know the sound of these intervals. And then as we move through the course, we're going to see those intervals in clusters of chords, in scale shapes, and so on and so forth.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? All right, everyone. Well, thanks for sticking close to 2 hours with me. Like I said, I try to go for an hour and a half. Usually we go a little bit over, never less. Yeah, thanks. And if you have any questions, let me know. I look forward to seeing more of your assignments. So many drone assignments. Looking forward to hearing some Jimmy Page riffs. And yeah, hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. I'll post the replay, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care.
Okay, goodbye. Thanks.